Okay, we'll just wait a few minutes, let some people get in here. Hey Annie, hey Sue. I hope you guys can hear me. Hey Sue, hey Elaine. Oh, you can hear me, but it's quiet. Okay, let me see if I can turn up just a little bit. Maybe that's a little bit better. Yay, no sound issue. Hi Jamie, hi Louise. Tara, hello from San Jose. So, from San Fran. Susie, the Sue, Susie. We have Sue B and Susie. Oh, I know why it might be faint. It would help if my microphone was clipped on and not laid on the desk. That might help. So now you guys may have to turn down now that I've moved the mic. So you guys are excited to put one of these together. Guys, if you haven't gone already and got the SVG, it is on the free SVG page. Here. And we are going to be adding a page. Hey Denise from Alabama. We are going to be adding a page. I'm going to show you guys how to do it. Since I got this size correct. And keep in mind that that SVG and what we're doing tonight is for an 11 by 14 studio decor. I said Belmont. Well, it is by Belmont. Belmont Studio Decor. Same thing. From Michaels. The one that has the removable insert. So just keep that in mind. You will have to do your sizes and all of that stuff. I can't type any day, Karen, so. Hey, Glow. Those of you who were not with us on Monday, we showed how to create and how to size these for your frames on Monday. So if you did not catch that or you did not watch it, you will need to watch that if you want to learn how to use your own images and size. Here is a link to that video. Starting it in at 14 minutes, that's when we started on the creating process. So you don't have to watch the whole video to get there. But it starts at about 14:07 or something like that, 14 minutes in. So if you need that, I encourage you to watch it because you can create your own using your own images from wherever you get your images. Instead of paying these $5, $10, $15 for these SVG files, you can make your own in Design Space. I just provided an SVG for everybody tonight. Okay, let's play the intro and we will get started. Okay, and this is the frame that we are using, guys. When you get it, it's going to be put together, of course. I took this one apart. I have not cleaned my glass or anything. You'll need to do all of that. Any trash or anything that's in there, you'll need to get it out. But this is the brand. It's the Belmont Studio Decor. And the reason that I said the 11 by 14s, guys, instead of the like 9 by 9s, the smaller you go, the more limited you're going to be in your diorama or your silhouette, your paper silhouette, whatever it is you guys are calling these. The larger you go, the more depth you can get. I don't know if that makes sense in your perception, in the perspective drawing part of it. You can get more, not really more depth this way, but you can make it appear to have more depth. That's what I'm trying to say. You can make it appear that it has more depth. So while that I've showed that, let's go over to Design Space, and I'm going to show you because what's in the SVG and what you need to create to make yours just like this one. Okay, here in Design Space, this is the size for that shadow box, guys. Let me make that smaller so you guys can see it. The overall size, when you bring that SVG in, it should come in, because I created it in Cricut a lot, it should come in at exactly these measurements. If it does not, you'll need to fix them. And what I mean by that is each layer right here should be 11.381 by 13.626. And that includes my tabs, okay? Your border, we started out with a 1/4 inch, and this one at the top stayed the same. I don't know why this one on the side is slightly off, but it's not enough to really matter. But keep in mind when you're creating an extra frame that you'll need to have yourself a guide. So you're going to get in that SVG, let me make this smaller so we can see. You are going to get layer number 1, which is this layer right here, the one bouncing. Then you're going to get layer number 2. And then you're going to get layer number 3. And I know it's hard to see with these dark like this, but it was the easiest way I could create the SVG. And then this is layer number 4. And you can stop there, but when you put these all together and you align them, all of this space up here is open. And that's where you're going to see the backing of your shadow box, unless you make another layer. And that's what I did here. And I'm going to show you guys how I did it, because you can create this very, very, very simply in Design Space. I'm just going to get rid of that. So all I did, and you can take any one that you want, doesn't matter, and duplicate it. And just move that back over there. You don't want to mess with that one. Select it, detach the score lines, and in that file, guys, I gave you one little set of score lines. You're going to have to duplicate that 4 times and place it, attach them, and then duplicate that for each panel and attach. And I'll show you that as well after I do this. So here's my score lines that I've made. You can see them showing up a little bit there. I'm going to take this one and I'm going to click Contour and hide all contours. And now I have this big black blob, and that's exactly what I want. I'm going to go to Images and type in Firework. And I just picked this one here. It was nice and simple, but you can pick any one you want. Just remember you're cutting on watercolor paper, 140 pound. It will dull your blade fast, and some of these teeny tiny lines on these may not cut well. So this one is in Design Space. It's Fireworks Silhouette. Image number M9FA174A. So you're just going to select that one and insert it. And you can notice back here, you've got all that space. And we're going to make this so we can see it. I'm just going to make it, let's make it red, bright red. And then I'm just going to place one right about here. And I'm going to duplicate it. I'll make it just a little bit smaller. Because they don't have to be exact, guys. Maybe put it here. Be careful. I made my two right here overlapped, and I wish they hadn't. And I'll show you that here in a minute. So be careful that they're not touching. They would look better if they're not. But if you want them to touch, you can do that too. And then I made that one just a little medium. And I'm going to pull it over. I'm hitting my mouse. There we go. And I'm keeping them all below that line, but in there. I'm just going to select all of this and move it out of the way. I'm going to select these three and weld. I'm going to bring them over on this one, and it's like, okay, now where do I put it? That's what this little square was for. I'm going to arrange it, move it to the front, and all you're going to do is put in a square and make it 1/4 of an inch, and then make sure that you align it to the top, giving yourself some space, and basically just centering that up horizontally. I'm going to get rid of that little square, don't need it. I'm going to select the two and slice. And now you have your background piece. You can get rid of those. And you'll want to reattach your score lines. So we're just going to arrange, move that to the front. Align, center, and reattach them. I'm going to send that to the back. And now we have a background back there where our fireworks will show behind the castle. Did that make sense for everybody on how to do that? So I'm just going to get rid of this one that I just cut. I just made it yellow so I could cut it in a different color. Just so we can see that. And I'm just going to save my file, guys. Make sure you save your file. So this one's going to be up. Anybody that just goes and gets the SVG, you're not going to have those fireworks. You have to make that one yourself. I want you to get accustomed to making your own pieces, but you can make them from something that's already measured. So I didn't include that one in, and I'm going to show you how to do the score lines. We're going to go to upload, and I'm going to browse for the SVG that I made that's on the site. Once you've downloaded it from the site, you're just going to do these same steps. You're going to upload it, and I'm going to bring it in. And you can see it here. You see those little pink marks? Those are your score lines. So I am going to, actually, I wanted to go to a new project. So I'm going to upload, browse, and then let me just drag it. It's easier than searching for it. And I'm going to save it. I spelled Diorama wrong on there too. I put an A instead of an O. That's all right. And select it and insert it. So this is what you're going to have when you get it. And we're going to check it. I haven't checked it yet. I'm going to ungroup. And yes, it's the correct size. It came in at 11.381 at 13.626. So when you use Escal SVG, sometimes they do not come in correctly. And I just made these score lines, but you can definitely make your own. These are a little bit long, and I did this for people who didn't know how. But you're just going to take those. It doesn't matter if they come past the top up here. That's going to be unusable pieces anyway. So having a little bit of extra score go below it is not going to hurt anything. Now, when you bring this in from that file, because Sure Cuts a Lot doesn't allow us to put in score lines, they will be cut. And if you look over here, you will see it says cut. You have to change those to score. Okay? If you don't change them to score, they're not going to be any good for you. I'm going to change these to white so you guys can see. And you'll see those. And what you're going to do is just line that up. You see how I have my bound box right there on the edge? That's what you want. And this is just going to give you a guide in case you need to trim these tabs when you're putting your diorama together. So that's all they're for. I'm just going to move all of these. I don't need these to show you guys this. So I've got my piece here. I'm going to duplicate that 4 times or 3 times. So I have a total of 4. I'm going to place one here, and I'm just lining it up at the top and then along that edge. I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to bring the other 2 down. I'm going to line those up with the bottom and the edge. And you can duplicate it just twice if you want to. Either way you want to do it. There's several ways to do it. More than one way to do anything. So I'm going to select this one and this one. And I'm going to align left and attach. And this is my way of doing it. You can do it 4 ways like I just showed you, but this is the way I do it. Duplicate it. And because they may not be exact, I'm going to flip it horizontal so that they are the same on both sides. Going to select both of them, align, top, and attach. Now I have a set. I'm going to duplicate that for each page that I have. That way all I have to do, if I've got 4 diorama pages, I'm just going to duplicate it. I'm going to pull them off to the side. I'm going to bring in my 2 pieces here, align, center, and attach. And that's all there is to using your score lines. But you have to make sure that you take them from that file and you have to change them from cut to score. Is everybody with me? Okay. And as always, guys, if you have questions, ask. We'll stop. We'll make sure that you understand. So now we have that. I have already cut mine. I cut this from 140-pound watercolor paper that I showed you guys on last night's video. So on my maker, I used the watercolor. And I'm going to tell you guys, this is thick, heavy paper, and I've used it in the past, so I know that it will dull your blade quickly when you do a lot of these. So when it stops cutting properly, you're going to need a new blade. That being said, I have a new blade in my machine. In watercolor cuts one time, check it before you pull that mat out, because I wasted 4 sheets because I didn't, and it didn't cut through. I wasn't getting clean cuts. So I upped it to cut 2 times, and it cut perfect after that. Who does not know how to change your settings on a material? So the watercolor paper is thicker and denser. It's not going to, when you put these in the frames, sometimes your flimsier papers, they will give, and they will give a curve in there where you don't want it. You want this to stay straight. And it's going to hold up. It's going to lay flat in the shadow box like it's supposed to. Where other papers, if you're slightly off on your measurement, it will put a curvature in it that you don't want. So it has to be something thick. You can probably get away with the craft board. Craft cardstock probably isn't going to work. It'll work for a mock-up to make sure that everything fits. And also the thickness of your watercolor paper. Sometimes if you use a tape or with the lights in it, it will make your tapes and stuff like that glow, or your glue, whatever it is you use to place your lights. And with the thinner papers, when it lights up, you may see a shadow of that. Hey, Ivy. Ivy's already put one together. She mocked one up with the lighter weight paper. The setting to cut is called Heavy Watercolor. Let me just show you. If you hit Make It. I'm not actually going to make it, but I didn't have all those attached. I'm just going to say OK and continue. Let it select my device. And then, yes, it is there, Elaine. You're going to hit Browse All Materials. And when you browse all materials, you're going to type in, you can type in heavy, you can type in just the word water and hit Select. And it's going to bring it up. Heavy watercolor paper, 140 pound, 300 GSM. And so there's your paper, and you're just going to hit Done, and it's going to tell you what you're cutting. Now, I did use more pressure on mine as well. If yours is not cutting with one cut through, and that's what it is set at from Cricut, you'll need to fix that if it's not cutting through for you. If it is, and I'm telling you, check it before you change it, because I don't like changing any of my settings in Design Space. And I tell you why, because you never know. It could be your thickness of blade. I mean your wear and tear on your blade, how sharp it is. It could be the paper itself. There are a number of things. So that if you change these settings and then you get a different brand of paper or something else, or it's a new blade, it may cut too deeply. So I always encourage, make a new setting. Do not change your settings. Make a new one. And you can do that by clicking the three lines at the top and Manage Custom Materials. This is per device and per machine. So if I were to put my Air 2, put this custom setting in there and then go and use my Air 2, it's not going to be there for the Air 2. It's only going to be there for the Maker. If I go to my iPad and cut to my Maker, it's not going to be there because I made this setting on my PC and not on my iPad. So it is device and machine only for each setting that you do. But you can go in here and you can find the watercolor and just change it. And I don't know where it might be exactly, because I did change mine. I wish these were in alphabetical order, but they're not. But you can Control F or Command F and type the word water, and it'll find it. There it is. And I changed mine, but I'm encouraging you guys not to do that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put mine back. I'm going to turn that off and save it. What I would suggest you do, if you have to change it, is look it up, and you see that it's got a pressure of 343. The multi-cut is off, and the fine point blade. So I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom and hit Add New Material. And I'm just going to put Canson watercolor, 140 pound. And that's all you can do at this point. When you hit save, it's going to create it. It's Well, usually it's going to create it. There it is. And right here you see it's going to set it. This is where you're going to change your pressure, and it was at 343, and that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to leave it where it was with my slider. And I'm going to turn the multi-cut on so it cuts 2 times, and I'm going to leave it at my fine tip and save it. So now when I want to cut this, I hit make it and continue and say okay. I'm going to select my material and I browse on material. If I type in watercolor, I guess I have to spell it right. Now you can see here's the original and the one I created. Yeah, your settings should stay. But if you change like the cricut settings, I believe, don't they go back when they do updates to the original? But the custom ones stay. I think that's what it is. Yeah, Jamie's got it. If you change your, like I changed that to cut 2 times on there, if they do an update, it's going to change my setting and it's going to put it back to the original. But the one that I put in there that's Canson watercolor to cut 2 times, it should remain in there. But again, if I go to my iPad and use my maker, this one will not be there. I have to add it on my iPad too. Unless they've done a recent update to change that. Last time I checked, it still didn't carry over. Get that problem of sagging yet? I think we're all there. Did I use a purple matte? No, I used a green matte, but it was a new green matte. Well, I say new. It was an old new green matte. The one with flowers on it, I think. Maybe it wasn't. Let me double check that. Yes, I used an old new green matte. So if your paper, you'll know if your watercolor paper is not sticking to your mat well enough, when you go load it, you need to get a strong grip mat. So let's go over and start putting this together, guys. Now that we have everything done and we've covered how to cut it and all of that, we've cut everything magically. So we need to start with layer 1, which is the one that has the love on there. Panel number 1. I'm just going to move that panel out of the way because we don't need it. Now I made mine fit inside. Again, if you want yours and you're using tons of layers and you have a big frame, you can take this out, paint those sides or cover it with paper, but you're going to need to measure to fit. And all I did was fold up those tabs on each side, and we're going to see if we need to change those or cut them down, because you're going to play with this to make sure that your layers are the way you want them to be and spaced the way you want. So then I'm going to get my layer 2, and you may need some assistance because some of these are thin. The ones on the bottom where you have a lot of meat on the paper, you can just bend it over. And you may want to bend them up. It's totally up to you how close you want it setting in your shadow box. But you're just going to get that to help you, especially on these little thin pieces here, to get your bend started. Your score, I should say. And I actually redid my score lines from the one out of shortcuts a lot so that I knew that mine were distributed evenly across, and put 4 score lines on there. So totally do what you want. And we want to space those up. I want to give myself something to put my foam dots or squares, whatever it is that you're using. I am not wanting to glue this one into it, but you can glue it to the sides however you want with two-way tape, double-sided tape, anything that you want to keep this in place on this frame, okay? I am reusing this frame for something else, so I don't want to make this permanent in mine. So I'm just going to take a glue dot, cut it in half, or a square. And you can do this a couple of ways. These score lines, you can roll them up and get them scored on each one to give that, I don't know if you can see that, something to rest on. You can put the foam square in there however you want to adhere it. I'm just going to, I think that's too fat. I may not be able to do mine that way. That was my idea, but maybe I'm going to change it. I think I'm just going to use these as a spacer on their own and just fold them. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I'm just kind of folding and rolling on those scores, and you're going to do that all the way around on all 4 of them. And try to be careful not to, I was going to do this ahead of time, but I didn't want to leave you guys in the dark on how I did it. Because this is the tedious part of it. And I'm just rolling it up, okay? So that it's staying inside that frame. It's not going to be seen. Hey, Catherine. Did anybody pre-cut or have one that they're working on while we're doing these? And like I said, if these are too high for you guys, you can trim them off on that score line so that you trim them evenly and get them the height you need it to be to go into your shadow box so that they're even. So now I have those in there, and I think that's good. I don't think I have to really glue. Try not to bend yours like I did mine. So there's layer 1. Now we have lights. And I showed you guys the lights last night from Ashland. Those are from Michael's. They're like $4 or $5. And this one had the slide off tab. I knew there was something different about this one. The other one that I have was one that clips and just opens that way with a power button. So you're going to want to have your lights. I'm not drilling a hole in mine either because I don't want to. I think I'm just going to do maybe 3 lights on this part, and I'm just going to use my foam dots to hold them down in place. And hopefully that won't shine through. At least I can bend them. Just want to anchor them down. And you can use a much smaller piece than I'm using here. I'm not even going to peel this off the back. There's no need to. And I'm just going to let that hang. Now we need panel number 2. And I'm getting all tangled up here, guys. You would not believe Well, maybe you would. Maybe you can see it. I'm all tangled. My dots came undone. So now we're going to go to piece number 2, panel 2. And you'll notice that in these panels I have little, I call them mouse traps cut. And those are so your wires can be at any portion of it, wherever you need it to be, you've got one close to you so that you can bring your wires in. I'm trying not to bend this up. I should probably use my flower tool and roll this a little bit quicker and faster. I don't know, it's pretty thick, may not fit in there. I'm trying to stay on screen for you guys. This stuff is heavy duty, I tell you that. This is what I used to use before we got craft board from Cricut. And I'm not sure, Ivy, how did you layer yours in like this? Did you roll them? Did you cut them down? I know that she said that she did one. Stand up here so I can. I'm trying to stay on camera for you guys. With the big project, sometimes it's hard to do. I'm not too sure that I wouldn't take this down to 3 scores too. Okay, this one's going to have 4 lights in it, so I'm just going to pop this up and move it. So that I can kind of space it out evenly. Okay, so now let's put this guy in and bring that next bout of lights up. I'm not too sure that I wouldn't put a foam dot. I don't know if they will show up in the lighting though. You see how that one's showing? That's what I'm afraid of with the dots. We're going to try it anyway. We're going to go that way. I'm going to put one at the top. Because I want to... The top is so flimsy. just to support the top of that piece. I probably didn't get it high enough. There we go. We're looking better. And when we stand up, it's going to allow it to fall back as well. So now we have a couple more lights. And I really don't want to put the foam squares on them because I can see those others through the thing, and I don't like that. So I may remove those. We're going to go with panel number 3, the one with the gates. Now I had to fix mine, but the file is already fixed for you guys because these were flopping free, and you don't want that either. And if anybody has any other ideas of how to pop this up without the foam dots, because the foam dots will show, please share. I guess we could make some little teeny tiny squares like you do for the pop-up cards and pop in there every now and again. Maybe out of a lighter weight cardstock that wouldn't show through. I don't know. Trying to think of ways of something that won't show when you light it up. But you definitely need to pop dot that frame along there. I'm not going to do that for time's sake, but in the real world I would be pop dotting across here because you're probably not going to see that in the frame anyway. And that's going to keep that curvature from happening. I hope I have enough space for all my layers. See, when it goes in, it is putting pressure on there and popping them up, so that may help. And then we're doing panel number 4. These are the hardest ones to do right here. You don't have much meat to work with on it. And I'm just leaving these lights free. I'm not pop dotting them down. I'm probably going to remove those others. And I'm getting right about even with that frame, guys. So 5 layers is pushing it on this, unless you were to remove a tab. But these can lay flat. It's not going to hurt them because that's the last layer. And of course my string of lights isn't long enough. I wanted some at the top. Oh, I'm just going to leave it. We'll see how it goes. You can always rearrange your lights. And the backing. Make sure you put it back on right too, with your hanger at the top. In the real world, I would be drilling a hole in this backing for my lights to come through, and I would have fished them through before I started, but I knew I wasn't going to be leaving this, so I did not do that. And you can do it just like I've done it here if you want. But if you want to attach it, you need to drill your hole and run your lights through before you get started, if you're attaching. Here comes the reveal, guys. Are you ready? Oh, how cool. I'm a little bit off on that first layer. I needed to readjust it. I think I'm going to pull those tabs off though. Other than that, guys, it's perfect. What do you think? I would put some glue dots to hold those tabs. We need some tabs at the top, I think, like we have on the sides. And that will cure the problem. I think, just like we did the sides, add 2 tabs and 2 tabs. That's all we need. And then you can run the lights in those tab channels and hold it. So if you're using the file, that's what I would do. I'd add a couple more 1/2-inch tabs to the top and bottom, because you have plenty of room to cut them on your watercolor paper. But there it is, guys. I think that'll make it a little more stable on the layers too. Not bad for our first one created ourselves. Yeah, Jamie, tabs on all 4 sides. I'm saying 2 on the side. I would probably even do a 3rd one in the middle on these big ones. Do 3 on each side and 2 and 2. So a total of 10 tabs, and roll them is what I would do. And that's going to keep it stable, because everywhere that I have tabs, it's perfect. It's sagging where we don't have any tabs. So I have to get rid of this old chair. Did everybody understand and get that? Everybody happy with it? We have some tweaking to do, but you can still create your own. And if you guys didn't see, when we pulled this one up yesterday on Etsy, they wanted $14 for a file similar to this, and we just created it with our own images. You can, Ivy, but the way that I did it, with rolling them like that and letting them be the spacers, seems to have worked, because it's blending in and you can't even really see them unless you're looking for them. Yeah, you could make your borders just a little bit wider too, like Jamie just said. That will help. I like the 1/4 inch. It doesn't take up as much space, but you can shrink your images down just a little bit and make that a 3/4 inch instead of a 1/4 inch, or a 1/2 inch instead of a 1/4 inch, and it should be fine, because this was 1/4 inch. So bringing it out just a little bit more all the way around should work. Yeah, or red, Sue, just to give it a pop. That would look cool. And of course, these are white lights. You can use any color lights you want, guys. I didn't try to color these with Copic or anything. But yeah, you could do just about anything. Let's see if I have a piece of cardstock handy where we could do that, Sue. I'm just going to use my... Oops. I just dropped, you guys. I dropped the mic. Let's open this thing up and see what just one small pop of color does. Ah, thanks, Sue. I don't want to use that. But guys, the sky's the limit with these. You can do tons of stuff. I'm just, because I probably will use this cardstock, I'm just going to use a pen to hold that in there for this demonstration. Guys, ready? Ready to reveal it? Drum rolls. Oh, how cute. The perfect pop-up color on it, guys. See when my camera gets over there so I can see if I've got it in focus for you guys. That's awesome. It's not showing up well on camera, but in person it's really flashy. It's pretty. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Yes, that was a very good idea, Sue. Put any color back there. Green, blue, red, silver, gold. Will all be pretty. I thought about putting a piece right behind their hands on the heart. I thought that would be cute. Make it pop out more. But I really, really, really ran out of time today. So much you can do, guys. And you don't have to do these all in white. Guys, you can do these out of colored cardstock. You can make each layer a different color if you want to. Make it pop. Do it in colors. Hey, Nancy, you snuck in on me there. Good to see you. But this file is... like I said, we need some tweaking. We need to add some tabs, which you can do, guys. All you're going to do is do a hexagon like I showed when we made this in Monday's tutorial. Just add a couple more hexagons pieces, a 1/2 inch, and then add your scores to them as well, and use those tabs. Will be perfect. But the SVG is free. You just need to tweak it. It's on the free SVG tab file. Yeah, so I really like the all white with just a pop of color there and the pop of red on there, on that heart right there. I think that would be awesome. And no other color, that would be really cute. So does anybody have any questions? Anything that we didn't cover that you need us to go over? Well, I appreciate all of you guys joining me tonight. I hope that this tutorial covered all the questions that everybody had with these. Yeah, I think it would pull it all together too, Pat, just to pop that red heart right behind that. If you're going to put red up here, I would, or whatever color, I would add that same color right there in the middle. Well, I thank you, all of my moderators, my patrons. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys, if you have any more suggestions or ideas, please let us know. We have tons of room that we can improve on these. We're new at doing them. So if you use your imagination, use your images, show us what you've got. I really want to see somebody do an ocean theme one. I think that would be cool. You're welcome, guys. You have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I probably won't see you guys until the next live on Monday. But I think Monday we're going to cover, I had a question in the Cricut only group, I think it was. It may be another group. But they wanted to know how, actually I think it was a comment on YouTube, how to sort out your materials for mats and how you line that up. So I think we may cover that next week. Hey, Sheila. Yeah, rewatch this, Sheila, and make sure you get Mondays too, because Mondays goes with it. We started on Monday and we showed how to create your file and size it and get it right. And then today we did assembly. So you have 2 videos. And if you go to the free SVG tab, the files are there for everything, for creating, for sizing, and the tutorial. And then there's also the assembly tutorials going to be there, and the SVG file for this. So all free. All you have to do is register on the site. Oh, thank you so much, Pat. I have to admit, I was kind of skeptical about this. I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. They're so complicated to do. And then I told Sue yesterday, I'm like, you know, I'm glad I went ahead and did it, because even though I know how to do them and I've done them before, I have to remember that I like to see you guys grow and in your crafting. And this is the perfect opportunity for you guys to grow with your designing and your cutting and your crafts. So I'm really, really happy that I broke down and did this video. I knew it would be a long one. It would take a couple of hours to get it through, but I'm glad I did it. All right, guys, you have a wonderful one. We will see you on Monday at 7 p.m. If you have any questions meantime, make sure that you go and ask those in the groups. Don't forget to thumbs up the video. Thank you, everyone.